It is Wednesday, October 13th, 6:05 p.m., and I will now be calling the meeting into order. We will do a roll call of board members. Myself, Ravonda Smith, the chair. Claire Cousin, vice chair.
Present.
Rebecca Wolf.
Hi, I'm here.
Marie Bell, treasurer.
Here.
Rebecca Bohr.
Here.
Robert Davis. And Anthony Bennett. Thank you all. We will now roll into the order of business. We will start right with number 1, which is the approval of minutes from our monthly meeting, September 8th, 2021, and also our special meeting, which was September 17th, 2021. Was everybody able to look those over? I know Linda had sent those out to everybody. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
So we have the first motion by Claire and the second by Rebecca Wolf. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We will move right on to number 2, which is approve accounts payable for September 2021, which was sent over by Trish. Did everybody get a chance to look those over? If not, please have no worries. Everybody is very busy, as I know. We can absolutely table this.
I'm good.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to accept the accounts.
I'll second that.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. We will move right on to number 3, which is our interim agreement. And I want to just thank all of the board that helped with this. We are finally here. We are finally ready. Shaheem, I did send you an email on this attachment. Would you be able to share that on your screen? And I just recently sent it as well, just so you can have yes. This is our Hudson Housing Authority Interim Director Agreement. We will be voting on this tonight. We can absolutely scan through this from top to bottom. It isn't very long. We were blessed to have this draft done up by Deborah Wiskowski from the Troy Housing Authority Board, and also HUD assisted with this. There was only a couple places that we had to make edits, which was the hours. And yeah, thank you, Shaheem. Which we put in the hours that they would be doing per week, and also their hourly rates, and also their start dates, which we'll get down to the bottom.
Ravonda, I'm sorry, I still see that same thing at the up. If you scroll back up a little bit, it just, so it says, whereas HHA desires to hire, Hudson Housing Authority. That's not right. I think it should, I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to read right there, but something else.
I think it's just replace HHA, Hudson Housing Authority, with interim executive director.
Okay.
Okay.
The interim executive director shall act as executive director.
I'll do it right now.
Okay.
On an interim
Thank you,
basis.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca, for catching that.
Certainly.
And again, I think it comes again in the next sentence. We just need to replace after addition. In addition, the interim ED shall report to.
Okay, and it's also, I'm seeing now that I think there must have been a search and replace at some point that went wrong. And it's just that I think maybe throughout the document, it says Hudson Housing Authority instead of interim executive director.
Oh, I can't pull it down.
If you see what I mean? So like if you look at,
Yep.
Ah, yes, I see, yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
All right, so everywhere that it says Hudson Housing Authority, so in the beginning where it says an agreement between Hudson Housing Authority, that first one should be interim executive director or blank for name.
How
Where it
about,
says, whereas the second paragraph there, whereas HHA desires to hire, would say interim director.
Yep,
Right,
an
but if you
interim
start all
director.
the way from the top, is
Yeah,
that what we want it to say? Where it says an agreement between Hudson Housing Authority and the Housing Authority
where are you?
at the very top.
At the very top, I just see witnesseth
Oh,
that.
Fahim, can you scroll up? Sorry.
Ah,
Yes.
Okay, so
yeah,
yeah, so the very first Hudson Housing Authority should be interim executive director.
Okay, I'm editing it as we go through it and then I'll send it out again.
okay.
Interim executive director. Okay. Next.
And then, I mean, but then it's throughout, so,
Yeah, I'm going through.
okay.
And then we're at the second paragraph there where it says, whereas HHA desires to hire, we're going to be changing that to interim director. And then the third one where it says, whereas Hudson Housing Authority is fully qualified for the position, I believe that as well, Rebecca,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then when we get down to the bulletin points, which is after now therefore,
Well, then there's still, don't forget, there's two in that first paragraph with the bullet underneath now therefore. There's
Yeah, so
two of them.
The
Yeah.
one that starts during the term of this agreement. I mean, it might be simpler to just do a search and replace again and just make sure that you don't replace, you know, the ones that aren't supposed to change. But
We can, let's see. The rest of it looks fine, actually. There's on that.
oh yeah, it seems to stop after that.
Yep.
I mean,
And
we,
let's, if we go further down, the owner shall be a direct supervising authority over the to the extent possible. Yes,
All right, hold on. I'm gonna send
yes,
you the.
and you can just send it straight
yes,
to Fahim, Claire,
Okay.
and then help.
yes. It's all
Shut
good.
Send in one so we can see.
The rest of it, let's see, can we see the bottom? I think it all looks,
looking good.
that looks good.
All right, Shaheem, it's sending now. You could see if that is what you guys wanted.
Thank you, Shaheen. And thank you, Claire, and everyone.
It's been a long time coming. We gotta get it.
Yeah. So Marie, like you and I were eyeballing this thing together, doing this thing up, and I don't know how we missed that.
You know, there's been so many versions, it gets confusing, but we've got this, it's good. Once we fix that, it's
Wait,
good.
it's still got, so I'm sorry, I'm an editor, you know, so it's
Then you take it. I'll send you the doc and you can edit it.
okay, fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it right now.
This is great teamwork, guys.
I'm gonna forward this to Rebecca. And so maybe Vonda, if you want to move to the next thing while she does this, and then we'll come back to it.
Let's do it. So the next thing on our agenda is Shaheen. You know, I know in the past, before we got back to Zoom meetings, we had discussed setting up a nice equipment for us for these Zooms, and we left it at deaf ears because we went back to in person and we thought everything was going to be all good and we wouldn't be doing this Zoom. And here we are again. So I'm back to begging you for your assistance. I know that you sent a quote in the past. And as you know, you know that we're currently searching for an interim and our ED, but I do want to pick that up right where we left off. I don't want you to think that we forgot or we're not interested. We're still very interested. And we want to have a wonderful Zoom or a wonderful in-person, however that may be. but I would love for you to keep us on your agenda. And does everybody else agree with me with that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not a problem. The city and I actually set up a similar setup not too long ago. So, whenever we're ready, just let me know.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for your patience. So after we vote on this IA tonight, we are going to have to select time slots for interviews. At this time, I know that we do have Trisha Mayo, who is interested, who did send us her resume and everything else. We also have Nick Zakos. And I know, Rebecca, you sent me Teresa Joyner's information. She had a friend or family member interested. Marie, I know you had a couple people, and Claire, you had Melissa. So, my goal is to get the interim to start effective October 25th. It's a dream of mine. Do I know it could happen? I don't know. Do I wish it could happen? Yes. But I feel like the best thing we can do now is set up time slots for interviews for these people. I know Melissa is ready to send her resume and whatever that we need. Like I said, we received information from Trisha. I know, Marie, you're gonna share this agreement that we vote on tonight with your friends, and then I'll send this over to Teresa, Rebecca Wolf, once we vote on this tonight. I feel like we should be setting up time slots for interviews like now for next week.
Ravonda, did you send 3 dates and times to, I think I saw something.
I set up special meetings already, but that was for us to figure out time slots. So the special meetings that I sent everyone, the first one is the interview meeting. The time slots are going to be made tonight, but the interview is ready to go and ready to roll for that, which I did send to everybody. I have no problem with forwarding it again to everyone. And I don't think it has to be like very long interviews. I think that we should have a set of questions that we put together, which we'll have. We're not going to do that tonight. Just like we edited this document and other documents, we'll do the same with questions that we think of to ask people. I think it's like I'm thinking 15-minute interview, but 30 minutes is probably best. And we have about 6 different slots if it's all the people that we spoke of. At this time, we have 3 guaranteed. So yeah. Rebecca, was the meeting next week the one that you had to do at 6 o'clock? I couldn't remember. One of them.
I'm just looking at it now. Yeah, Monday, October 18th, I asked to be 6 p.m. just because I have class.
And then there's a second special meeting, which is, go ahead and give them that date, Rebecca.
Yeah, so the 18th is a special meeting, 6 p.m. And then the 21st is a special meeting at 5 p.m.
So there's a couple different things we can do here. I know that a lot of people want to reach out to people. We can squash the October 18th, and you guys can contact people and let them know, hey, October, was it 25th, Rebecca? I'm sorry. You're muted, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no problem. It was the 21st.
So October 21st is our interview day.
Thursday.
So it's all up to the whole board on which way you want to go with this. But I know we have 3 people that's ready to go. If you feel like you want to reach out to people more to try to see if they're interested in this job, we can just do it on the 21st. But regardless of what, we have to decide on the time slots in the day tonight of the interviews.
Ravonda, quick question. This description, ad, whatever you want to call it, RFQ, is that going into some sort of HUD website as well?
So the IA doesn't go into the NICE Fat or the HUD website, if that's what you're asking. That's
Yeah.
for like ED job description. So I either done by a PHA on their own, or it's done by the board where they select the candidate.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
works for me.
So how does everybody want to move on that? I don't really want to hang out on it too long. Rebecca, what, do you have something that you want to say, or any suggestion, or anything like that? You're muted, I'm
muted, yeah.
sorry.
I was actually just finishing the document, which I just sent to Claire, so I wasn't able to really pay attention to what you're talking about.
Okay,
So can you just say that again?
yes, so we have to do the time slots for the interviews.
Mhm.
So tonight, we're voting on the IA, and I know that there's 3 contestants that we have, which is Claire introduced us into Melissa, and then we have Trisha Mayo, and then we have Nick Zakos. And then I know you sent Teresa Joyner, connected us in an email, and she had a couple people interested. I was just wondering if you wanted, my goal was for us to do interviews on October 18th, but we also have a second special meeting, October 21st. So either one of those days, we will be having the interviews.
And so you're just wondering which day is better for, it sounds like the 20, it seems to me the 21st would be better, just in terms of like making sure we have all of our ducks in a row in terms of all the information we need from applicants to make our decision.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that? October 21st? Marie?
Yeah, can I make a suggestion? Can we do it maybe over a 2-day period, the 21st and the 22nd? And if we get 4 or 5 applicants, I don't know if we, that's 3 hours in a day. So if we split it up over 2 days, that's like, an hour per day, maybe an
Okay.
hour and a half. So
So
we
the
just don't get
21st
burnt out. Yep.
And we'll do those at, I'm a little scared to do it for them at 6 p.m. I feel like it's so late. I feel like we should be the only ones here at this time, or Brad and his crew.
Can we do them
Other-
at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock?
Are you guys okay? Would everybody be okay with that?
The only way
It at 4?
that I would be able to have that big of a block is if it's during a regular work day or a Friday when I'm off and my kid's father is off, so he can keep them. So a Friday or early morning or afternoon. I can't do evenings unless it's Friday.
So afternoon, what time would that start for you, afternoon?
I could do anywhere from 12 to 2 or 12 to 3. 12 to 3 is fine. It's a good window for me.
So after 4 though, how does your schedule look?
A Wednesday or a Friday.
After 4?
Yeah.
So maybe we can do a Friday 4 to 6 and put a slot earlier on Thursday, like 1 to 3.
So I work 8 to 4. So
Okay. What about Monday?
I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
So it has to be after 4 o'clock.
Well, we don't have a meeting next week, right?
No,
So I could do a Wednesday evening.
we have a meeting scheduled for the 18th, but that was to hold our slot in for Hudson Tech, just in case we had changes like this. So I did the 18th and I also did the 21st. You know what I mean?
So I could.
So now we have the 22nd, which is Friday from 4 to 6 for our interview day. And then we just need one more.
Can you guys do the 20th?
4 to 6?
Sure.
I'm actually out of town on the 22nd, but
Okay.
I'm just one person. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
How many people, Ravon, do we want to be there? Like 2 or 3 people? As many as possible?
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't ever like to hold anybody to anything. If you can be there, great. If you can't, I'm not mad at you or sad. and I'll let you know what happened.
Okay.
So
I mean, I can go.
Rebecca, would you be okay if we still held that Friday, the 22nd, 4 to 6, or no?
I mean, I wouldn't mind being there for this meeting, but
What if you
that's the
zoomed
one
in?
day.
Now that still wouldn't work if we zoomed you in.
I'll be driving, or actually I'll be on a tour right then. So
No worries, no worries. All
Would
right,
it maybe help to do one of those like doodle polls or something like that?
I feel like a doodle
Let's
is probably
set
in
it up.
order.
Yeah, because
let's do it.
I have I'm
So,
I have some conflict too, so I don't. Yeah. Maybe
okay,
Let's do a
so I
doodle.
feel like the Rebeccas should do the doodle poll because they seem like they had, like we would have to work around them, it seems like.
Well, I'm happy to.
That'd be
Well,
great.
I'm happy to send out a doodle poll with a bunch of dates and times, that we could, and then we can all see which one the most of us can be at, basically.
Yes,
Cool.
that's a plan.
Okay.
All right, so we are gonna put the time slots on the table to the doodle poll. And we'll be waiting on that. So as everyone saw, we're moving right on to the next is we did get a proposal from a lawyer, which is fantastic. I'm currently looking through the HHA procurement documents on how to properly procure. I've also reached out to HUD, but I got some replies back that I'm away from the office. So they could be like on vacation or away for a couple of days. So hopefully they can guide me through this, or hopefully my brain and my eyes will tell me how to procure. And we can get legal counsel on with us.
Claire, is that something, I'm sorry, Ravonda, is that something that you need help with?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And Trish is also helping as well. And she's getting she was able to get a lot of information for Claire and I in the past on how to properly go about this. So hopefully we get together. And I also have the mayor working on this as well. And he has reached out to the city lawyer on giving us guidance on how to properly go about this as well.
Great.
Cool.
All right, so that's any questions, any comments from the board? Any questions for me?
No, just that sounds great, and let me know how I can help with any of this stuff as well. I'm here.
Yes, thank you. Well, guys, we have some guest speakers here tonight. And
Ravonda, sorry,
oh,
sorry. Can we vote on the interim?
is it ready?
I think it's ready, right?
Is it ready, Claire and Rebecca?
I sent it to Claire.
I sent you a chat and asked you to send it to Shaheem. When I send it to him, it still shows up as the original document. So maybe because you saved it on your computer, you send that document instead.
Sure. I don't know if I have Shaheem's email address. So
I can give that to you if you like.
yes.
All right, let's see here, because I just sent him an email. All right, so
Anthony, are those
Oh, wait, I
dates
do actually. I
Are
do
those
have
dates
it.
for the special meeting okay with you, Anthony? Yeah, okay.
yes, Anthony, and please feel free to ask any question. If something seems like too much, you don't know what's going on, please feel free to ask. I was just like you a year ago, and I know some people were probably tired of me because I asked every question ever, but it's best to ask as many questions as you want to understand. And we are so happy to have you here. Did you send it to Shaheem, Rebecca? Were you able to do that?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, I'm seeing other chats to me. I'm sorry. I'm not so up to speed with this, but yes, I certainly can, Linda.
Whenever you're ready, Shaheem, you can go ahead and share it.
Oh, you want me to share it or you want Shaheem?
No, oh, I was telling Shaheem, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got the document you sent here, but yeah, I'll share it and show you. It's This time it just came through as a text document, which just makes it,
Okay.
and but it still looks like it's coming through as all the same information that was there before.
No, I changed it. You can see, it now says interim executive director instead of Hudson Housing Authority.
Can you change the,
The line breaks, unfortunately, the
why is
computer
it coming up on Notepad?
it's a text document. Sorry, my computer that I do Zoom on doesn't have Word on it. So that's why, but I can like save it. Can we read it this way? Or like,
No, I don't want to read it this way. This is terrible.
So I'll just finish editing it while we're talking, while the presentation.
no, I can just do it on my other computer. It's just gonna take a second.
Okay, so we'll
Alright.
cut, everybody okay to cut back around to that
Oh, Lord.
while we let our guests, because I hate when we have to hold guests up, because I know when guests, I'm like ready to go.
Let them
Let's
go.
do it.
Rebecca.
Okay. So we have guest speakers here. We have Empire East Preservation. Something that totally just really got the light in my eyes when they said they were very familiar with HUD and RAD conversion. And I'm just gonna let them take the wheel from there. Brad, welcome, and your team. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting us. The company that I work with is K&R Preservation. That's Francine Kelman and Brian Raddick. They are the ones with the most experience with HUD and RAD conversions. And then the other person on our team is Jim Reeks from San Ruben. San Ruben is a 108-year-old construction company in the Capital District region and the Hudson Valley region. And so we have teamed up on a few projects and wanted to just speak to you about your RAD conversion and how we can assist in any of your housing authority issues. I'd like to turn it over to Francine. She's the one with the most experience and can discuss what we do.
First of all, good evening. I'm sorry that I couldn't be at the earlier meetings, so I'm a little behind, but hello, everybody. Brian Raddick and myself, who I believe you've met, Brian, started our company about 14, 15 years ago now. And we've preserved about, maybe about 4,500 units of housing, including about 900 units, I believe, Brad, of public housing.
836
Sorry, okay.
that we did as a public-private partnership with New York City Housing Authority.
Right. I have a long government career. I worked in HUD for 14 years and then went on to New York State. And I've, obviously I've kept my relationships with most of the HUD people. And in our dealings, Brian and I often have to be at HUD and know about the programs and who to go to. So we can be of any assistance that you need. If I could shorten a line for you to get to somebody, I can certainly do that. And whatever you want to know about or talk about RAD conversions, we did a RAD conversion. So I think we've run the gamut as far as preservation of housing, affordable housing.
You get very familiar with the 4% low income tax credit programs,
Yeah,
HCR, HFA, all the requirements that come with it.
That's what we've done mostly, of the 4% bond deals. Yes, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, the 4% bond execution helps utilize the tax credits to get much needed rehab into these buildings. which is, it's a great tool to kind of extend that affordability.
We,
Just quick question. So your primary expertise is in rehab.
not necessarily. We are very well versed in new construction
Okay,
as well as preservation of existing housing.
so a bit of both.
Yes, and
Yeah.
everything is affordable. Yes.
Okay,
And we've utilized all of the HUD programs as well as the New York City programs, the state programs.
And good evening, everyone on the Hudson Housing Authority. This is Jim Reeks of Santa Reuben. Thank you for having me and the rest of the team. One thing that I would like to add is I have been down previously talking to Tim Mattice. Probably I started 3 to 4 years ago, starting to talk to Tim, and knew Tim from his Troy days when he was in code enforcement. And I had recognized the issues that are happening in the Hudson Valley. And unfortunately, the pandemic, increased that demand so much more than anyone could have anticipated, the housing crunch that we all are in these days. So that's why I've been actively down in the Hudson area. My wife is originally from Poughkeepsie. We have teammates that are an architectural firm in Hudson, along with an engineering company that has a Poughkeepsie and also Hudson office. We've done work in the Hudson area ourselves over the years. We always look at doing things collaboratively, and that's what we try to do, is come with a solution with all the teammates put together so that we can collaborate and have a successful project. And that's really, when we look at Hudson, there's a dire need for housing, and how can we increase that amount of housing and make it so that families can grow up and children can have education and go on and prosper in the Hudson community. And one thing about Santa Reuben being a 108-year-old company, we've worked with many communities with outreach and job training. We've been instrumental in Schenectady and also in Albany, and working with the Association of General Contractors, trying to get minority people to come and get those job skills, along with union apprentice programs we've been involved in. And it's one thing that we do, is we reach out on behalf of the teammates that we work with, and we try to make the minorities come and participate in the projects in whatever way that we can help foster, so that they learn the job skills, is their project in their community, and they get to feel like they're contributing. So that's really what I wanted to say about Santa Reuben being a 108-year-old construction company. And we look forward to teaming up with people like Brad and Francine and Brian and the other members of our team to have a successful project, but really to help communities. I mean, that's really what we do as a construction company. We take people, I hate to say it, through our hospital work, from birth to death almost, through religious education, college work, hospital work, and housing. So we really, we are a fabric of the community.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jim.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to get an interim on and figure out how we can roll this ball. Everything just sounds so great. And once we get back on track with HUD, with doing all our fixes and everything else, I would love for you guys to comment on our RFQ, so.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for speaking to us. I truly appreciate you guys taking out the time to do this, and you'll be hearing from us again.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that although Brian and I are a development company, we have a lot of skill and expertise with tenants. And I think that's a very important part of this whole pattern. It's, sometimes people leave tenants out of the mix. And in something like this, as far as preservation, people get a little nervous, and we have a lot of experience with that. So does Brad, as a matter of fact. They love him. You too, Jim. I don't want to leave you out.
That's okay, Francine.
Thank you all.
Well-
Thank you so much. And, oh, I'm sorry, Jim.
One thing I wanted to add to you folks, I think right now in this critical point in time with the Infrastructure Act working its way through Congress along with the other bill that they're trying to pass, I think it's very important for the Housing Authority to try and get something ready to go, because it's going to be so important when those funds come. It's going to be first come, first serve, and they want projects that are ready to go right away. And this is a project, in my opinion, that really is what we're trying and we're fighting for in Washington right now, is to support this project like this and to create that housing in our communities. So I think it's really important that you think of that timeline, because it's going to be really critical, because when that passes, there's going to be a lot of people at those doors. And I think it's nice to get in there early before other people so that they don't run out of funds.
Yes, Jim, thank you so much for that. Thank you. That really just hit home with us, because we had a beautiful timeline that we were on. And even though we were thrown off a little bit, we are still on a timeline to do what needs to be done. And we know that there's funding that we want to reach and get to. We just can't right now. And we are doing everything we can to make HUD happy, to make the tenants happy, and just get this work done. So everything you said was really wonderful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for them?
No, just to say thank you so much for all being here, and look forward to talking to you all in the future.
Thank you.
Thank
Same
you.
here.
I think next time that you guys come, if you could show a small presentation of some of the work that you've done in the area, that would be
Sure.
great. And if you talk a little bit about specifically what housing authorities in the area you might have worked with, or what affordable housing complexes you've worked at, so we have an idea of what you guys are interested in Hudson, and maybe we can share a little bit more about where we've been at in our conversations with the community.
Sounds great.
Claire, that's something that I think we could furnish you folks so that you could have it ahead of time, so that you could look at that.
It sounds great.
No more questions? Everybody all set? Thank you again for being here. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the presentation of what you guys have done.
We'll make you happy.
Well, I wish you guys the best night, and thank you again for being here.
Same to you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course.
Good evening.
Okay, so we are kicking right back into the IA. Were we able to get that over to Shani?
Can we scroll down a little bit? Thank you.
Can you scroll again? Yeah, thanks.
just for clarification, the interim director will be paid $50 per hour for all work performed up to 35 hours a week. This was just an attempt to capture the fact that the interim director may work, sort of 18 hours one week, 24 hours one week, 29 hours one week. So, but we don't want them to work more than 35 hours in a week. So it was just provide some flexibility, the up to 35. So if everybody's cool with that, I just wanted to clarify that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, this all looks great.
It does.
Will
Looks
you
good.
scroll all the way down to the bottom? Thank you.
That's good.
Looks good.
I love it.
It's good.
Is everybody okay with this?
Mhm.
And listen, we can go right back to the top again and scroll down one more good time.
Yeah, this is great. It looks great.
How are you feeling, Rebecca Wolf?
Sorry, I just wonder about having the date on it. I mean, we have the date on it. Obviously, that's subject to change, right? Like the 25th day of October, because we don't actually know that that is the date. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so if you go down to the bottom, I believe it says like subject to change if
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
or such early time as
Yeah.
parties
So
may agree.
I guess I, could have just put it as October XX or something like that, but
I'm fine with it the way it makes sense if you've got shall be effective unless.
I'm just wondering if just this is such a technicality, but if we vote on this document, do we then have to like revisit it if we need to change the date on it? Is that?
But the bottom of the document does Shaheen, would you mind just going down to the bottom? I think it's covered by intended to be legal. There it is. This agreement shall be effective October 25th or at such earlier. Oh, time is apart earlier.
Yeah, so
How about we get rid of earlier? How about just or at such a time as the parties agree and may agree in writing?
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is, normally it seems to me that a contract like this would just have a blank for the date, and then you fill in the date when you're actually signing a contract. So I'm just suggesting maybe we could just remove the date altogether and it could just say, this agreement shall be effective blank line.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Seems to make sense.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that if we have the meetings that week, that the hope is for the person to begin as soon as possible. So that would be the week of the 25th.
Yeah, that would be great. I just don't know that it makes sense. I'm just concerned with the.
Would you like her to edit it again?
Yeah.
Would you like for her to edit the date again?
Yeah, sure. You can, Rebecca Wolf, you can absolutely do that if you want to just put the line in there. That sounds great to me.
All right, I'm going to do that and I'll send it to Shahima again. And then.
Okay.
So can we vote on it now with the knowing what the provision is going to be or what the revision is going to be instead of waiting for the updated document? I think
That makes sense.
I make a motion
I'm
to
comfortable with.
this interim agreement with the revision of leaving out the date.
I would like to second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Yay.
Yay.
So I see that Robert joined. Do we want to reiterate the date so that nobody is left in the dark about the interviews, setting up of the interviews?
Yeah, absolutely. So our goal, Robert, is Rebecca Wolf is going to send a bunch of dates and times in a doodle poll for interview slots. The week of the 18th. So it can be like any of those days during that week. And we're going to be setting up interview slots for all of our candidates. So look out for that email that will say doodle poll if you would like to be a part of the interview process. And then was there anything else, Claire, what else did we hit on today? We approved the minutes.
We approved the minutes, the accounts payable, and then we were just working on that, the interim agreement that was emailed to everybody, Robert. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but we just voted to accept that as the official interim agreement. So that's what we'll be asking the candidates to look at and sign. So that's new. Linda made a note in the chat. Did we elect officers?
So we had actually tabled that. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Linda, for bringing that back up. I know it was tabled. Marie, what will we do about the elected officers? When?
So my feeling is that, because I don't know exactly what the specific rules are, my concern about electing officers without having either an ED or an attorney present, I feel like we have to have one or the other, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
I mean, I
So-
wonder,
Oh.
sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, when is the expected start date for the new attorney approximately? Do we know?
Well, we don't know because we're trying to figure out the proposal situation because we had one decline. There's 3 solicitations. One just got back to us. So we don't know how to properly close that, if we're allowed to close that and vote on the lawyer or not. So I'm trying to get
Got it.
guidance on that.
The only problem with us doing the vote is that we don't have, usually the executive director is in charge of handling the votes, counting the votes. He's the neutral party, and we don't have someone like that to do that. You can't do it. I can't do it. Someone else has to do that. So, I mean, was it supposed to be last month?
Yes.
So we're 1 month, behind. We're in our 11th month of that, of whoever's currently in their post, right?
Right.
I mean, I think it's okay to table it for another month if people are okay with that on this board.
I think that we can table it for the November meeting. I mean, the seats wouldn't take effect until January 1st, correct?
No, they take place right away, I believe. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not right away, but then by the next meeting. Yeah.
So it would take effect December. If we voted.
Correct. That is correct. Yeah, I believe so. Yep. But
Okay.
I think it's best to wait another month. We're not that far out.
Mhm.
It's another 30 days, and I think it's best to get that interim director position filled, and just to make sure we're on the up and up here.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you, Linda. Does anybody have any further questions?
I guess just for Robert to let him know that K&R preservation came in as well. That was just the one other thing that happened. I was looking at their website. They've done a lot of stuff in the area, as they said.
Good. Good. I love that you did that. I didn't even do that yet. I just heard HUD and RAD and I was like, oh.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh, gosh. All right, so we're gonna move right on to report of resident commissioner from Robert Davis. Robert, are you still with us?
Says connecting the audio.
Okay. I don't think he has a mic connected, maybe.
I have a question.
Yes.
Because in my time on the board, there's only been one resident commissioner. So I was wondering, typically in the reports, do both resident commissioners report? And then in that case, if Robert's not here, for Anthony to give a report? Or it looks like Robert's connected now.
That's a good question, Rebecca.
I love to hear from Anthony too.
Yes. And he has been sending messages in the chat. I believe he did say something to our guest speakers. He thanked them for being here.
Robert looks ready. Robert, are you there?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
There you go.
Hello?
Hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Over the weekend we had a situation up in the building. A young lady got attacked, and it was on my floor actually. And I had to intervene. Not had to, but I felt it was my duty to intervene because the guy sexually assaulted her. Everyone is feeling a way about security. You know, I've talked to the elderly people in here, those that have been living here for quite a while, and they feel that there should be some type of security in this building. I don't know why we keep going back and forth. We should get security, we shouldn't get security. And this is the third incident since I've been in this building in 4 years of a woman getting attacked in this building, on top of a whole bunch of other things. So we need to come up with a plan. All right. I don't know what we're going to do or how we're going to do it, but we need to come up with some kind of idea on how to better situate this building with some safety. And, you know, not tooting my own horn or nothing, but if I didn't intervene, God only knows how that situation would have turned out. So we really need to put our heads together and come up with a plan.
I think one solution / suggestion I have, and one of the things that I know has been a little bit of a holdup is like the legality of it. So like we don't have, because we've been without an executive director and without counsel for a little bit, like this and a mental health worker in the building are two things that we wanted to figure out the right
That's
way
right.
to bring on board. So it's not lost in conversation. It's just that the board has been in a really shaky position as far as having the proper guidance on how to do it the right way. So thankfully you were there to assist the resident. I think it's a beautiful thing that you were there. And it's something that we know that tenants are looking for. Maybe I think the only pushback that anybody ever had about having a security person or a resource person on staff was the officer part, having somebody that is potentially punitive on the ground. So we were trying to think of the right language to create a job description where this person is the lens is community focused and safety focused, and not somebody that, you know, how easily somebody could take their job as security and switch it as it's their job to monitor and people that are living their everyday lives, like not just things that need to be reported, but the extra. So that was kind of how we wanted to, as a board and a team, come up with the right way to get somebody good in that position. So as soon as we get this interim in, you know, and we hire a lawyer, that's one of the priorities that we have already set.
Okay, but when we had a director, it was a problem.
But that,
You know,
that was,
let's-
that
let's
was
call
based
it
on the
what it
guidance of
was.
the director, though. He was the one that wanted us to collaborate and think of the right way to write up an RFQ or like a request for somebody to come in. So it was per his advice to wait and do it this way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you remember when I started on the board, Robert, I had gave my, you know, my background of living there, being born and raised there. There was always an officer there. There was always a resource officer there. And I asked him what happened to the resource officer. I know he mentioned one time it was funding, and the second time he mentioned the tenants didn't want it. He sent a survey out and the tenants said they didn't want a security officer. So we have come on this plenty of times, and I know the board has never given any pushback of getting an officer there. We always wanted a resource officer there. The pushback was the proper guidance that we were not given. All we can do is vote on something. The executive director makes it happen. So as Claire said before, when we get an interim in, we'll definitely add this on the agenda to figure out what we can do about this. Rebecca, do you have a question?
I was just wondering if this is something that we should have a meeting about with residents, you know, just to, like, at first I was thinking, well, should we do a survey now? Just to kind of like try to assess, you know, I mean, not that it needs to be like majority rules or something like that, but just to get a sense of where the whole resident community is at.
Can I make a suggestion?
Mhm.
I think that a face-to-face meeting is a good idea, but I think us as a board first, because we know how contentious it could easily get, to
Mhm.
have some options of like solutions that we came up with first. Like, here's the difference between a security guard, a resource officer, a community needs person, and like, you know, really give some clear-cut examples of what exists in other places so that they can differentiate between like what works best in the building and on the property. Because like Vonda said, there has always been somebody in that seat, and the people that have lived there for a long time will tell stories of the one who did what we expected him to do and was really about the tenants, and the one that went out of his way to get tenants in bad situations and evicted, and like just remembering those things and remembering that there's a culture of that when you think of quote unquote law enforcement. So the more that we can help the tenants have an idea of what direction is available before we create a meeting, like, yes, bring them to the table, but let's as a team come up with some options so that they have less to digest.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. If I could please ask everybody to mute your phone unless you're speaking, please. If everybody can mute their phone, laptop, computer, that'd be wonderful. Marie, I saw your hand was up for a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think what this is, as a board, we're so used to giving guidance to our ED on these things. And I would really like our new ED to, you know, give us some guidance and let us, rather than us deciding we're going to do a survey and doing all those things in advance, I'd really like to see what the ED has to say. And we could even ask this kind of question in an interview. You know, I really think that this is something that it'd be good to, you know, what does a professional think that we can do with this? And then take it from there as a board.
Yeah, I agree, Marie. Are there any other questions or suggestions?
No, I just want to echo the fact that, you know, the first board meeting that I was in, I remember Ravonda, you specifically saying this and talking about the fact that there was always a resource officer. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to see what happens when we have someone in here.
So are we saying that we can't really take any steps on it until there is that the case? Like, we can't do anything until there's an interim?
We can't procure, we don't have counsel, we don't have, you know, we're in a really difficult position.
Got it.
Robert, was there more to your report?
No, that's really it. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for that,
I do
Robert.
have a
You're welcome.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Linda brought up the elections, and I had a resident from Columbia Apartments ask me about resident elections. Are we postponing that too? And if we are, will they send out the notices?
President elections, were they going to be in December?
Oh, okay. I had like 2 different tenants ask me about what to do. And are we still at 10 petitions needed? Okay, cool.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I would like to maybe just, I feel like when we made that resolution for the 10 petitions, I don't know if it was for that specific election or maybe like all elections during the pandemic. I wasn't sure our wording, but we could just go back and look.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think, is it both resident seats are up in December? Was that the case? So it's like a big election, which typically doesn't happen, right? It's like every other year.
So everybody's gonna have to get the 10 signatures to be on the ballot.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll move right into, Rob, well, now I'll move into public comment, which we do have Kaya Payton with her hand up. Go ahead, Kaya.
Hi there, how's everyone tonight? I just wanted to respond to the elections because they're out for the tenants to get the signatures, and the paperwork says 20. Can we get something so we can change that? Maybe that might get more people to try to run.
Should we maybe
Yeah.
just, oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you for that information, Kaya. That's what we were trying to figure out. So that's perfect because we can vote right now on 10 signatures and then, yeah.
So
I think we can, I think we could just vote to extend the 10 signature requirement for this.
Yeah, I really think that's all we need to do.
So I make a motion to extend the clause of only needing 10 signatures for the resident election.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you again for that information, Kaya.
Hello?
You're welcome.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So in an event that you have, say, 4 people run and 4 people get 10 signatures, how do you go about that?
There's,
4 names will be on the ballot.
Yeah, it's a 10
So if you-
vote, right?
If you
The
got
10
4 people that ran and everybody got 10 signatures.
No, Robert, the
How
10
do you-
signatures that's not the votes. That's just, they get 10 signatures in order to be able to run.
Mhm. Yeah, in order for you
Okay.
to be on the ballot, you need 10 signatures.
Okay, that's not how I've been seeing it, so that's why I asked the question.
Yeah, I'm
That'd
glad.
be a full election, yeah.
I'm glad we were able
Because
to clarify that for you.
when we had the prior elections, which was only maybe 2 people to run, and that's it. You know, we had the election, the one before last, we had 2 people ran. One guy decided that he didn't want to run because somebody else was running. So that was, that was a landslide. He just got into the position. So, but if you got these amount of people that's running and they all get the 10 signatures, but how do we actually come up with a person that's going to be elected?
So how it goes, Robert, is the reason why there was 2 people and you both made it on the ballot is because it's a 2 seat. It's 2 tenants on a seat. So there wasn't a need. You didn't have to go against anybody. Now it's going to be 4 of you on the ballot that you're all going to be going against each other. Due to it only being 2 people, you don't need an election. You filled those vacancies.
Okay, It was an election always. Let's make sure we understand that. Now, my question is, if you got 4 people with 10 signatures, how do we come up with the winner of that? How do we
People are
determine
gonna
who's
come down and actually submit a vote for who they want out of the 4 people, and then they count the actual votes. The signatures aren't the votes. The signatures are just people
Okay.
endorsing
Thank you.
it, saying that they
Thank you
want.
for answering that question. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that. Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Opposed? Anybody want to hang out more? Motion passes. Thank you all for a wonderful meeting.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you know I'm
you.
gonna know you all soon. Bye-bye.